My old intro was too long, so I deleted it. Basically, the intro to this video is Riot Games needs to start treating League of Legends like an actual video game meant to be enjoyed, and stop trying to force it so hard to be a competitive environment when it's already going to be that regardless. Riot's focus of resources should be on minimizing the existing frustrating parts of the game instead of pretending to help make the game feel competitive. Anyway, the first problem is dodging. This is when the champion select, which is a pre-game activity, which can take up to like 5 minutes or something insane, gets canceled early, and it gets canceled early because someone closes their client because they don't feel like, or sometimes can't, play anymore. After I described it, I think you can already tell how insane it sounds. Why does it even exist? You just don't feel like playing anymore, so you just end the game manually, like a game with 10 players. This is like you and your group of friends signed up for a game of basketball and you like see the teams and you're like, nah, I don't feel like playing, and just leave. Like, at least have like a stricter punishment than just wasting everyone's time. They don't even know who dodged. Like, you can't even tell who dodged. You just waste everyone's time at no expense to yourself, really. So basically, this should just be completely removed. Okay, I got kind of distracted there, so going back to the script. Imagine all the time wasted in the world by people dodging. Just remove this feature, it really does not matter. The bad parts of removing dodging are as follows. People can get into games they don't want to play, and people can get into games that are basically scripted wins or losses, as in the game was won or lost in Champion Select, and now the entire game is just a waste of time. Again, both of these problems aren't actually real problems, in my opinion, and just stem from League leaning into the win good, lose bad competitive aspect too much. If the game is just fun to play, then people shouldn't be complaining that they have to play a game of League of Legends. Imagine complaining you have to play a video game. That's just my opinion anyway. The second problem is autofill, or getting a role that you did not queue for. In League, you have to queue for two roles, a primary role, aka the one you want, and a secondary role, aka the one you want to get if you aren't allowed to get your primary role because too many other players wanted your primary role. Oh, but also the game can just give you any role it wants to as it sees fit, so this role selection thing is more like a role suggestion. This is the soccer or football equivalent of wanting to play as a midfielder, but being okay with being a defender if a ton of other people want to be a midfielder too. Autofill is when there's a coach or someone's dad there that just decides where people are going because he feels like he knows what's best and he just wants to get the game started. Even if he's wrong, the dad is just trying his best, but why is the multi-quadrillion more billion dollar company doing the same thing in my video game? Question mark. Either remove autofill or make it make more sense. For example, autofill currently just feels like you queue up for a game, load into champion select, and suddenly you're jump scared with a role you don't want to play. Instead of making autofill this random bad thing that can happen to you randomly sometimes, make it more standardized, like a check mark you have to click when you queue up, saying you might be autofilled to these roles if you queue right now. Which it kind of does, but it doesn't do it successfully. Like, it is not clear. It like highlights roles and it like doesn't even make sense. Anyway, the point is do that. Uh, I'm sure there's ways to make it so that players can literally tell the system which roles they'd prefer to be autofilled to, or I'm sure some players would be fine being more autofilled than other players. But this is definitely too useful for Riot to ever implement since they're a small company after all, so no hopes to that. Obviously, no real downside to what I just said besides the cost of implementation and upkeep, whatever. I can understand if Riot can't afford to do this since they're a small company. And then the downside to removing autofill is longer queue times, which is the next problem I'm talking about. By the way, thanks for watching and subscribe. The third problem is long queue times, and this problem is exacerbated, aka it's a bigger problem, in Apex tiers because there's less players in the highest tiers, so it takes longer to get into the game. So, what is the problem with long queue times? Well, time is wasted. People want to just get into game and play and not waste their time. I'm sure in some cases, people don't even get a chance to play because the queue time is so long and then they have to go and meet their responsibilities and obligations in real life before they even get a chance to play. So I'm sure the queue time has just made people unable to play in some situations. Well, my solutions to this problem are the craziest solutions I've given so far, and the first of the two solutions is this: to improve community. This game is really fun. There's lots of players. Some people don't even play the game and still enjoy the game and its community, such as people that quit but watch other players play, or people that watch big streamers like Cadril co-stream events. So, with such an incredible game like this, why is getting into a game as fast as possible even so important? I think improving game quality and focusing on the community aspect of the game is a very worthwhile thing to focus on and achieve, even like especially if the cost is just not focusing on longer queue times first. Not to mention making the game environment overall healthier and normal person friendly will just bring in more players, including returning players. Anyway, shortening queue times, which shouldn't even end up mattering anyway, because the queue times being shortened isn't the goal here for me. The goal is for the game to be more than just getting into the game. There's so much to do with League of Legends beyond just getting into the game. There's lore, streamers, educational content to improve on. There could be clubs. There could be even more. There could be integrations for all of these things within the client, official integrations. That gives players things to do all in queue. Look at the in-client games like Demon's Hand, Swarm, even ARAMs. I think there's insane potential for just making the in-queue experience better and worrying less about how long people are in queue and more about making the queue time an enjoyable part of the experience. Can you imagine how much time and human resources we as a species have lost to people just sitting in queue in League of Legends? Honestly, insane to think about. Anyway, I said I had two solutions to this, but I got too distracted with this one, and I don't even remember what it was or what I was going to talk about, so I'm just going to go to the next problem. The next and fourth, and not as significant, problem is toxicity and bad in-game behavior. People grief, people are toxic, and people get frustrated. Why? Because the game is, like I said at the start, focused more on competition and self-improvement, which people foolishly just equate to getting rank ups and getting plus 20 internet points when they win. The game should be focused on having fun and being an enjoyable experience. Anyway, the point I want to make is that people are toxic, and it's because the environment and game systems encourage it. People want to win and win and win, and them being toxic and getting frustrated and losing their minds isn't even their fault. Because I mean, everyone has a breaking point somewhere, and it's fair that for most people, their breaking point is really easy to break and they become rude on a dime. The problem is that this is basically encouraged by a system of competition in which time is very important. When you lose a game, you're negative 40 points now because you lost 20 and you didn't win plus 20, and it took like an hour for you to lose 40 points. And this is because it feels so easy to waste time in League of Legends. This sounds crazy to say, but the game really incentivizes winning and not trying to win. My solution to this is simple and just goes back to what I said I believe should be a vision for the game, and that is make the game more fun focused and make winning less important. Then people will have no excuse, and honestly no reason, to be nearly as frustrated, toxic, rude, or insane as they currently are. So, when the game's systems stop encouraging toxicity because it makes everyone feel like their time is being wasted as soon as things go south, then you can just be more strict with toxicity and bad behavior because people shouldn't be expected to be as toxic as they are. Also, for the record, I think it would be a very good idea to remove chatting or pings from accounts permanently if the account has shown to not use them wisely, because let's be honest, removing your ability to communicate while in game in a video game is really not the worst thing that can happen. If they care enough, they can submit a ticket after a time period or something. I don't know. Anyway, I think being stricter on punishments is the clear way to go because the punishments are all video game punishments anyway, as long as you're not like permanently banning people's accounts, which I assume doesn't happen that often anyway. There's probably more to talk about, and there is, but I'm just going to end the video here because I feel like I've already said a lot and still want everything to be connected and coherent. If you want a summary of the video, then go rewatch what I said at the start about making the game more fun focused. My closing thoughts are this. Yes, it's not as simple as just make the game more fun. Just make winning a less important part of the game. Just do X, Y, Z. But for such a big company, for such a big game, I think it's fine to have an ambitious vision, especially because League of Legends is not going to go anywhere or die if they mess things up. I'm going to be honest, Riot Games has messed up a lot of things already, in my opinion, and the game is not dead, so I think it's pretty safe because countless people, like me, truly love the game and how fun it is. For example, of I think Riot messing up, why can I not duo with my high ranked friend, but we can just queue up at the same time because we're the same rank, and then it's just a 50% chance of being on each other's team or being versus each other? Riot removing duo made zero sense because it was an example of Riot pursuing competitiveness over just making the game fun. In conclusion, the game is insanely fun. It has competition and self-improvement built into it, and it's the name of the game. Riot should work on facilitating an enjoyable experience, like a fun baseline that people can have while playing the game. Instead of amplifying what makes League good, they should focus more on removing what makes League bad. While it's cool in concept that playing League has its ups and downs, and that's what makes the climb worth it, the downs in League are usually just my teammates were annoying, were bad, and the ups in the game are usually the game is fun and I like playing when my teammates aren't annoying and bad. Again, simple solution to this, work to make people in the game less annoyed and work to make people not get frustrated by teammates being bad because it's not a bad thing, it's part of the game. And I explained these solutions before earlier in the video. Technically, there's 5 bad players every game because there's 5 roles, and one of the 2 players has to be technically better than the other person in the role, even by a little. By the way, the title of this video might have something to do with Apex tiers. It might not. I know I focused more on just the entirety of League of Legends as a whole, not really Apex tiers that specifically. But I just wanted to give my insight on the game because my entire experience with the game is playing in Apex tiers. So I just had to talk about the whole game like this. I hope at the very least the video was insightful and I prioritized just saying everything on my mind rather than just having a coherent structure to the video. Anyway, I just said like a billion words, and I appreciate anyone who listened to them. And if you have any thoughts or want to talk to me about anything, just feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments because I read all of them. And if I don't respond or heart emoji yay you, it means what you said was probably just too unhinged. Thanks for watching, and subscribe, and like, and let's go!